This episode of I Am Salt Lake podcast is proudly sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sunday, 12 to 5. Their newest location is located at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Just show up, get yourself a haircut. Maybe you have a last-minute date or a job interview. Jed's Barbershop is the place for you. Head on over to their website at jedsbarbershop.com for more information.
Showcasing local talent, professionals, and everyday people, making Salt Lake City what it is today. It's time for another episode of the I Am Salt Lake podcast.
Let's welcome everybody out today to episode 304 of I Am Salt Lake podcast. My name's Chris Hollifield.
And I'm Chrissy Hollifield.
Thank you so much for joining us on our podcast as we kind of go on this journey of Salt Lake City where we get to sit down and get to know the locals, professionals, the everyday people.
And explore the city.
Absolutely. Hey, but before we jump into today's episode, let's mention how people can find us on social media. Chrissy, how can people find you?
Absolutely. You know what? The best way to reach out to me is on Facebook. Just find Chrissy Shelley Hollifield or follow the podcast page.
The best way to connect with me and my everyday life on social media is on Snapchat. Been enjoying that lately. I Am Salt Lake on Snapchat.
It's really fun to follow you.
Today on the podcast, we sit down and chat with Lisa Boone, the owner and founder of Tinker's Cat Cafe. Tinker's is the very first cat cafe in Salt Lake City. And in this interview, we get to find out the story of how the idea came about, the obstacles they faced. I mean, this was a few years in the making before Tinker's even opened up.
I'm amazed that she plowed through and she's like, I'm doing this, and she did it.
We got a chance to stop by there actually last night, which was a lot of fun.
It was the cutest Friday night ever.
We didn't have the opportunity to make it over there, even though they've been open for a few weeks. And in the interview, it was actually the night before. We did the interview the night before the soft opening.
Yeah.
So there'll be parts of the conversation you'll be like, wait a minute, they're acting like it's not open yet. It is opened up. We got to go check it out. We took some pictures. I actually posted a bunch of pictures on Snapchat and on
I posted Instagram and Facebook. It was really fun, and the kitties were so cute.
Go over there. I'm serious.
Yeah.
We're going to put all the address and everything at IamSaltLake.com with this episode show notes. Anything else you want to mention about Tinker's Cat Cafe, though, before we get into the interview?
They have really good gluten-free and vegan treats.
Oh, absolutely.
It was really good.
The chai tea I had was excellent.
And the chai tea was yummy. Oh, just go try it all. Do it all.
We're going to get into that interview here in just a second, though, so hang tight for that. I do want to mention again, I know I mentioned it before, we're going to do another Q&A episode. We need your questions, though, to make this possible. If you have any questions for Chrissy or myself individually, together, about the podcast, about us as people, about anything Salt Lake City related, send them in. hello@IamSaltLake.com. That's our email address. Send it in, and we're going to be answering those on a future episode of the podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Any questions, right, Chrissy?
Yeah, just put on your thinking caps. What do you want to know?
Hey, we run into those events where we need a photographer. Maybe we want to do a family photo. Maybe we want to do baby pictures. Maybe we want to do
ugly sweater pictures.
Whatever that is. You know, we all run into those times where we need to find a really good photographer. We're lucky here in Salt Lake City. We have an amazing local photographer, Amanda DeWolf. She is a top-notch photographer. She's, if you need wedding pictures, comedian headshots, she does great nature photos. Go check out her website, amandakmemories.com. It's where you can get in touch with her. I actually think she even has prints for sale.
Yeah, I think she does.
Right there on the website. All the ways to get in touch with her right there as well. That's Amanda K-A-Y, memories.com. All right, like I said, Lisa Boone from Tinker's Cat Cafe came on this episode of the podcast. I have been really excited to play this conversation for you guys. Really awesome conversation.
It was a fun conversation.
Let's play that right now. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you so much. Here's that interview with Lisa Boone. But where's home? Where did you grow up? Did you grow up even here in Utah?
I did not. Well, home is where the heart is, right? So, but no, I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada, actually.
Really?
I was born there. Yeah, I'm
wow.
a native of Las Vegas. And my father was a military man, so we moved around every 3 years, changed location. So I grew up in Vegas. I grew up in Virginia, which was really impressionable. I really liked it there as a kid. Illinois, and then back to Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've been here since 2004, so 13 years.
What brought you up here?
Well, I was married at the time, of 2 little daughters at the time. I didn't want to raise them in Las Vegas. I was raised there, and I know.
And you're like, I'm not doing that again.
Yeah, everything's there, you know?
Yeah.
It was fun. But so I thought, well, 6.5 hours away, and my ex-husband, his family was here. So we thought, let's go check out Salt Lake. And so we did. And I remember getting off the plane or landing and then driving on the freeway and seeing the Wasatch. And I'm like,
And you're just like, I'm
I
in
was
love.
done. Yeah.
You're like, this is home.
It was really, yeah. I'm like,
Really?
if those are here, I can be here. Cause I wasn't sure, you know, all the cliche of Utah and the stereotypes. And I'm like,
Oh, I know. There's so
I
many
don't know.
stereotypes.
And how long ago was this, you said? Like about...
this is 13 years ago now.
Okay, so you've been here. You've seen a lot of change then here over the
Yeah.
last 13 years
Yes.
of even Salt Lake City. I mean, the outskirts, there's been some cities and towns that haven't changed
There's
a
been
whole
a lot of
lot.
growth. Maybe they haven't changed, but there's been a lot of growth
Yeah.
on the outskirts.
Yeah, and I'd like to believe it's getting, more diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Progressive. Well, it's not like we know
Oh,
for
yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
But it is. It's kind of, it's
Slowly
expanding.
expanding,
Right?
yeah.
Out to suburbia.
Well, and we're getting a cat cafe now. I mean, this is the first for Salt
Which is
Lake.
going to be like the hub now.
But you know,
let's hope.
it's interesting. I was doing a little research on cat cafes, and I guess it's a popular thing out there these days. There's a lot of it going on.
I heard of them a few years ago. Someone said overseas or something, there was some cat cafe. And I thought it was the most amazing thing. And I'm like, oh, that's never going to come to America. Like, we would never do something like that. And I was bummed. But now we have it.
Yes.
And last night I was looking on the internet. There's a catcade, a cat arcade in Chicago. I was like, well, if I ever go to Chicago, I'm doing it. So, I'm finding out all the time. I mean,
didn't know about
obviously,
catcade.
yeah,
That
obviously.
sounds fun. But if you have to pick between playing a game and playing with a cat, that's kind of tough.
I know.
This
well,
way you can sit and enjoy yourself and play with the cats.
Yeah, and they like sit on the pinball machine though. That's kind of fun. Maybe they're sitting on top and they're
You sit
trying
on your
to get
hands
the ball.
while you're trying to do something.
What were you doing before this idea came in your head? Like, what have you done for work and jobs? I mean, what's your history of opening?
I'm a
Like, what got you here?
yoga teacher.
Really?
Yes. I've been teaching yoga, Bikram yoga specifically in the valley for about 10 years.
Oh, yikes. Good for you. I took a Bikram yoga class and almost died.
Yes, I understand completely.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah, that was what I was doing. And I started a little side business teaching kids yoga for a while to change it up. So that's been over 10 years of teaching. I was managing a yoga studio for a while as well. So that's,
Here in Salt Lake.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so that helped kind of plug in. I've always wanted to have my own business. I had a little, in my younger 20s, I started a wedding party favor, a little business for lavender sachets. And so it's been,
Just kind of an entrepreneur type.
Yeah, I've always wanted to create something, But then, like you said, when I found out, I was sitting on the couch watching The Amazing Race. You guys know that show?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
We've
I've
heard of
heard
it.
I was watching it, and they throw obstacles at people who are traveling around the world. And one of them, they were in Japan. This is where cat cafes began in the late 90s in Japan. And the obstacle was to go feed or give some milk to some cats in a cat cafe. And I'm like, well, what's going on? So I'm watching the camera pan go in, coffee and cats in the same place. And I was just like, this exists? How come
This
I
is
haven't
heaven.
thought of that? Yeah. I'm like, that sounds awesome. And so it was right then I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to bring one of these here.
Initially, it sounds like it would be pretty easy, but it probably is one of the most difficult things, right? With coffee and cats.
Yeah, with, health department,
Yeah,
seeing how do you mix those two together? Or do you mix those two together? And
You've been talking about it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember
Years.
seeing this on the internet a couple of years ago. Like,
Yeah.
why is it taking so long?
Well,
Is that, I mean, I don't mean to be.
no,
Getting antsy here.
Oh, yeah. One thing that took a very long time was finding the right location.
Why would that be difficult?
I
though?
was looking for a place for windows. I wanted full windows for the cats. Health department wanted a full partition wall in between cafe and the cat lounge is what we call it.
Yeah.
And then also I was looking for parking and then something like downtown, but
So you were really thinking of every aspect of the person's visit.
yes. Yeah. What would be good for the customer? What would be good for the cats?
Yeah.
And it took a while. I went through a couple of realtors. There was one didn't jive with, went through 2 contractors. So that took a little while. And the building was old. So once we finally got into it, there was definitely unexpected stuff down in the cement and in the walls and everything. So that was a huge obstacle.
Where did you find a building at? Where's your location? We'll mention it a few times here,
Yeah.
obviously on the podcast, but where is it at?
We're at 302 East and 900 South.
Great location.
That is a great location.
I'm so happy about the
Yes.
location. Yeah, it took a while, but it was worth it. It used to be Scoggins and Scoggins, like old violin shop.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's where it's at. And the Liberty Wells area, everybody's been so positive and, just excited about it. So it's nice.
What did the health department say when you approached them and you said, I want to open a cat cafe? I'm sure there's still a lot of people that have never even heard of it. Did they just look at you like you were on drugs
Yeah.
almost? Like, what are you talking about?
They do. And I guess the most common question is, do I bring my cat there? And so that, and that was, I think the health department, I remember one of them asking that, well, what's this concept? What are you doing? One of them had heard about it. And so that helped to explain it as well. They were very generous with listening to me because there isn't any protocol set up in the state or the city. This has never existed here. So they don't have anything to base it on. And I had researched a lot, and so I said, this is what I've heard people are doing this, and this is what the buildings look like. And they're like, okay, that makes sense to us. And then if there was anything that was like a flag, they're like, okay, we have to have this, which was the wall. So they were really nice with trying to work it out. I'm glad that they could see that it was something maybe that could benefit community, benefits the shelter. They're up for adoption, these cats.
So they were really there to kind of help you figure it out more than shut you down.
Yeah. They were
great.
open. And I've heard of other like cities in the States, where it's extremely difficult with health department considering. But in here they've been pretty good.
So what obstacles? I mean, so you said the partition. I mean, I guess you don't need to go into crazy details, but
Yeah.
But what other obstacles were that with, like the health department or?
Health department just was, I don't have a kitchen. That was a big thing that they were like, great, we can listen to you more. If you don't have a kitchen, you're not making food on premise. They like that a lot better.
So what are you going to have in there then?
So we have a full espresso bar. Espresso machine just got installed last night, and we're bringing in some local bakeries. And there's a lot with the animal lovers, a lot of vegans and gluten free, and then non-vegan too. So I'm bringing in City Cakes. They have some yummy lemon bars and all these good things. So City Cakes will bring food, and then Lay Madeline, Chef Romina over there, she's going to make some really cute cat cookies and bring those.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then Dida has some of the best bagels I've had in town, and Amy over there, she's going to bring in some bagels.
So you'll have it'll look like a normal coffee shop. You just won't be making the food there.
Exactly.
Why did you go that route? Is that to avoid a lot of that health department stuff? Is that kind of why you avoided the kitchen?
Exactly.
Probably saves a lot of work and money too.
Definitely. Yes.
So that's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seemed like an easier route, and the ultimate goal is to get cats into homes, really.
Yeah.
But so it's just like, I'm not a restaurateur. That's not my thing.
Your goal wasn't to open a restaurant or a food place, really.
Right. So I wasn't diehard on I have to have a kitchen. I thought this is an easier path in order for city to accept this and, get the cats there.
So how do you get the cats there? What cats, did you just go pick them up off the street?
Yeah,
I know when
right?
I was
Well,
a little
in a
girl,
sense.
I used to sneak cats home, like in my shirt and hide them in the house.
Yeah. Meow. You're like, what is that?
Yeah, I got in trouble.
That's cute. Yeah, so it's been a long time ago. So a couple years ago, the shelter was one of the first people I talked to. And we have a lot of great shelters here in Utah, but I picked Salt Lake County, animal shelter to talk to them. So I remember sitting down. I said, hey, this is what I'm thinking. I want to bring a cat cafe. Are you guys interested to partner and provide the cats up for adoption? And these have been proven to show cats get into homes. There's success with this. And so they were very much like, yes, please. Because, they're overwhelmed. They have a lot of cats right now. There's like 250 of them. So anybody who can take large amounts of cats and get them out the door faster to homes, they're on board. So they've been on on this train with me for a while. And so we would cross, not fundraising, but events. I would be there and serve coffee and tea. And
that's cool.
Built this camaraderie, and they're awesome people. They're friends of mine now, so it's been nice to have that time to build those relationships.
Yeah, because by the time you're ready to open, you have all that support too.
Yeah. And so that was nice. Then, we just picked them up. It was last night. The cats, 14 cats.
Are they there right now?
How many cats? You said 14?
There's 14 cats at Tinker's right now.
Oh my gosh, can we go there?
Yes.
I'll
be going after this
We
if you
should
want
have
to come.
recorded on location. We should have recorded. Maybe
do it again?
Maybe we'll do a part 2 on location.
should.
And that's what I've always liked to keep my equipment kind of portable, so I can do. Maybe I'll have to record future podcasts there in
that would be
general.
fun.
Just hey, we're live at
Who
Tinker's.
does not want
You're
meows
welcome.
in the background?
Yeah,
right.
Well, so how does it work?
like
Because when I saw a post on Facebook, I guess you sign up for times or something like that, and I was like, well, that's kind of a brilliant idea, not to overwhelm the cats.
Exactly.
And not to let them escape out the door.
Explain.
Yes.
So for people listening right now, that everybody that's been, I threw it out there on Facebook, and I'm going to get into some questions that we got on Facebook and Instagram here in a
wonderful.
minute.
Good.
But most people were just like, well, when does it open? I want to come pet the cats. That's been like the
That's
number
all they
one
want to
thing.
know.
How does it work? People are on the edge of their seats right now, probably driving their cars. They're stopping their run, and they're like, okay, how does this work? Lisa, take it away. How does it work?
Wonderful. So we have to have reservations because there is so many people who are excited about it, and we can't just bring in 50 people into the room with the cats. They will freak out. And it won't be fun for anyone, and there was not time. So it's a win-win where somebody, a customer goes on to tinkerscatcafe.com. It's the first page. It says book now. So you go on and there's a calendar. It guides you through. You pick your day. It'll open up time slots and say how many spots are available. Choose that, and it'll take you on to check out. It is $8 per hour to visit the cats.
It's not bad.
Is that per person? Say, like a mom like me wanted to bring 3 kids.
Yes.
How would that work? Does it take up 3? Like, there's only so many allocated spots. You would take up 4 slots.
Correct. It would.
Okay.
Yeah, it is person.
Still
young
a
or
good
small,
deal, though.
For space wise. Yeah.
Plus, if your kids love cats and you can't really adopt, that's worth paying to go visit the cats.
Exactly. And so some people, they were like, we can just show up and go. And they can. And walk-ins are welcome, of course. If there's a room in the cat lounge, if we haven't hit 16 for that hour, you're welcome to just pay and go in then as well. But it keeps it organized for the cats to not be overwhelmed. And then also people have actual quality time with the cat, not waiting 5 people through to pet a cat,
Yeah. So it doesn't turn to weird, like petting zoo thing.
Yeah.
So there'll be a couple of different areas. There'll be a cat lounge. So like if somebody just wants to go in and get a coffee or something like that, you can.
We are a full cafe.
Yeah.
So you'll walk into a door and it's a full espresso cafe bar with seats. You can just hang there. And then there's a door with a glass door and you can see the cats and everybody hanging out as well. So you can just like drink coffee and gawk the cats too and not make a reservation to go in or and then leave. Or if you have a reservation, you go in the cafe and then wait till your hour comes up and go in and hang out.
And I would imagine if you have cat allergies, just stay away
don't go.
from the entire place. Probably.
Those are the only ones when I was, talking about it and trying to educate people, going, "This is what it is," and they're like, "I'm allergic." I'm like, "Really allergic?" I'm like, "Okay, never mind."
with people with allergies, that sounds like just the worst thing ever.
And you can kind of read it on their face. You're like, "I'm opening a cat cafe."
terrified.
They're like, "You allergic?" Yeah, I'm allergic. I'm like, "Okay, that's all right."
What about like dogs? Like, I mean, I imagine dogs aren't going to be allowed in there, right? I mean,
Yes.
or like even service dogs, right? Like for a blind person.
That is funny you asked that because today we had the health inspectors in going through the
Yeah.
building and he asked that same exact question and I hadn't thought of that one. I'm like,
Really?
service.
Because that popped in my head.
Yeah, because if they're a service dog. So we came up together that if it's a true service dog, I must say, because, sometimes
Not like an
they have the
emotional
vest
support
on.
service dog.
Yeah, but they're not like
those are
sitting
okay
there,
too.
yeah, trained. So the health department was saying some of them aren't really trained as service dogs, but if they are actually a trained service dog, then they should be able to come in and they would be okay with the cats. And it shouldn't be a problem. If they're a trained dog, it wouldn't be a problem. So I would take it situationally, of course.
I would imagine you are not going to run into a lot of those issues, though, because I would also imagine, like, say, if I had to have a service dog, I'd be like, well, probably I'm going to go to another coffee shop.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it kind
No
of seems,
offense to you.
hopefully,
No,
it would
but-
be common sense
Yeah.
Right.
to people with dogs.
Yeah, bring a dog into 14 cats,
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be interesting. It depends on the animals. Animals are so different,
Yeah, all
But
the different personalities.
I would just hope the person would understand if it was causing a lot of problems, then, I just can't do it.
The cats are going to be up for adoption.
Yes.
If you want to go through the process, they just hit up one of the employees there. You'll have all the information there, I would imagine. Be just like if you went to the Salt Lake Animal Shelter or something like that to adopt a cat.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you're sitting there, petting this cat. And maybe you've come a couple times and you really are getting to know that cat going, no, I really like this personality. We jive. So there's always a cat lounge attendant in the room. Somebody's always in that room
From-
with the cats,
from
Tinkers.
oh, okay.
Yeah, to watch over and help people and clean and all that stuff. So take care of the cats. And
Yeah.
so if somebody's interested, they just say, hey, I want to adopt this cat, and just have to fill out, just like you would at Salt Lake County, a couple forms right there on the spot. But you can take the cat from Tinkers. You could adopt from Tinkers and take it home.
That is so. We might have to go down.
Oh, you
Any
Oh my
any
gosh.
kittens, or it's all good. I mean, you
They're
mixture of-
older.
older.
I'm choosing older ones because the kittens don't have a hard time in the shelter. They
Yeah,
usually
the
get
older ones.
out the door faster.
If you ever get a Sphinx through there, let me. I actually adopted a Sphinx cat from the Salt Lake Animal Shelter 2 years ago. They found it wandering the streets of Magna.
Really?
I have a few connections. I reached out to him. I said, if you ever have a Sphinx cat, I really want one, but I just don't want to go through the whole breeder route, right?
Yeah.
And they found it. Older, wonderful cat. Still have him at the house.
That's rare.
His name's Charles.
He's amazing.
Anyway, and he's awesome. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I would love another Sphinx. I just don't want to go through the whole route of.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, I know a lot of people want them as well.
I will keep that in mind too, because I'll be seeing a lot of them come through.
Well, and the shelter said, we know a lot of people want to adopt it, but a lot of people don't know the extra care of
Yes.
the hairless cats, and he is a lot of extra work. With the whole bathing and the,
Oh,
and the,
okay.
and
See, I
the-
don't know about
you have to
that.
clean their ears and
I've had a lot
there's
of people ask me
things.
about the extra care, and when I kind of tell them how much care a Sphinx cat needs, they're like, "Oh, just kidding." No, Like,
I mean,
they look really cute in pictures, but
we don't need to get into everything here on this podcast, but I mean, I do love him. I do love him.
I
Yeah.
bet they're cute.
they're really snuggly.
Oh
my gosh.
One of the baristas, he has a Sphinx.
Really?
We were talking about it. Yeah, he has one.
They're
So,
like they're like the dog cats. They want the attention, the love, the cuddles,
Yeah,
and
they
need to stay warm when it's cold out. Like
Do you have like sweaters, like winter?
You know,
do
so-
they need
really,
it?
really want to dress him up, but he's
overweight.
he's
he
kinda
was
big.
overweight. He was overweight when we adopted him
Yeah.
because he doesn't really fit into sweaters.
Yeah,
I mean, I would imagine like a little larger dog sweaters, but I don't know.
yeah.
the overweight Sphinx cats are really interesting shape.
Yeah,
like
I just
they're really skinny in some areas and really not skinny in others.
we get them to be
in some areas.
closer to 13 years
Charles.
old even now. So
Aw, good.
we know he's on the older end of cats.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of like, just love life, dude. Like
Yeah.
I've had him for a couple of years. He's happy.
Eat it up.
I'm with
He gets
you.
along great with the kids, but
Yeah.
why the name Tinkers? I didn't get into that yet. I want to find out Tinkers. What's the name?
Tinkers, this is an ode to my childhood cat. So as a little baby in the crib, my mom, Tinker, was in my crib with me. There's pictures of this Siamese cat with me. So I grew up with him, and he lived to be 22 years old. So he was a significant animal in my life growing up into teenage years. And that was Tinker. So he made the impression of cats for me and my love of cats. So my two daughters and I, I'm like, hey, I have an idea. Let's do a cat cafe. And we were throwing around names. That was one of the beginning things. And, I was like, no, let's give it to Tinker. He's the one who put the love into cats.
That's so perfect.
I love it.
Cute name. So your daughters are helping you?
Yes.
It's like kind of a family project?
Definitely.
How old are they?
I have a 19-year-old and 16-year-old girls.
Oh man, how psyched are they?
They're pretty psyched. Yeah, it's been fun to like say, hey, let's do this, and then watch it manifest. And it's been really good for them. I would like to say, just the work involved and what do you do and what it takes. But they've been interested. And like right now, my 16-year-old is right there setting up the bar right now for me, and she's been with me all day. And my older one helped me pick up the cats. So they're very involved. They're going to be working. They have barista experience too.
Nice.
So it's
That
definitely
is
family.
so great.
Let's actually take a quick break. We have to play a message here from our sponsor, and then there's actually some more questions about the workers and whatnot that I'm going to ask you when we come back. So hang tight, and we have more questions for Lisa. This episode of I Am Salt Lake Podcast is proudly sponsored by Jed's Barbershop. With 3 locations, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sunday, 12 to 5. Their newest location is located at 167 East, 900 South, right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown at 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House at 2153 East, 2100 South. No appointment is necessary. Just show up, get yourself a haircut. Maybe you have a last-minute date or a job interview. Jed's Barbershop is the place for you. Head on over to their website at jedsbarbershop.com for more information. We threw it out on Instagram that we were going to be chatting with you. And obviously, pretty much everybody just wants to pet the kitties. The main question, well, there was a question here that says, volunteer opportunities or employment, and what kind of coffee will they be serving? So, volunteers? Have people reached out and said they just want to come and volunteer? That sounds wonderful for the employer.
Exactly. So the cat lounge area, initially, it was going to be all volunteer work where I'd have about, 3 to 4 hours around the clock, because I always wanted somebody in the lounge to hang out and oversee the cats and make sure everything's good. And so that was going to be volunteer based. So, but as I went into interviews with applications of people, I found a couple people that was really strong for, I'm like, I think I would like to hire you actually as that person to be around more often. So It changed through the hiring process. And so I hired employees for Cat Lounge instead.
But can people volunteer if they want to?
At this moment right now, no, but down the road as we go through this process and see what's needed, yes. Yeah. We could always use help, especially in the cat lounge area.
Oh my gosh, what a great way to find employees. Like, look for volunteers. So you find people that are passionate, that are going to do an amazing job, and then hire them.
Yes.
What are the hours even going to be? We didn't get there.
Yeah, so we will be open Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 7. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 8.
Okay.
Closed on Mondays. I'm going to give cats a break.
Enough with the petting.
Yeah. And the coffee is Rimini. We're going to serve local brewers, like Sugar House.
Okay.
Yeah, Rimini. Coffee.
I love coffee. I'm not a local coffee expert.
Yeah.
Like I should be. No, that was interesting. Then another question. I'm going to ask this just because they asked. Why though? Like why? I don't. I like
Wait,
literally their question. My only question.
like, why is
why
this-
though?
That's
like,
a dog person that asks
Okay.
that.
Like, why is this exist?
Yeah, like why are
would
you
we
even
do
doing
this?
it? And I think
this is a great person to talk to about the cat cafe.
I think we
actually.
kind of already answered that. I mean, you saw it on the reality show, and then you decided to do it. I guess.
Right, but they possibly might not be a cat person too, and that's usually they're like, why would you even care to do something like that?
Yeah, like why would
And-
you spend time with cats ever?
And if people haven't experienced cats or experienced cats that are friendly, then I can understand where they're like, why would you do that? You know, but it would be a good reason to try it out. If you're not allergic, come on in and then experience what actually cats, their behaviors, they're so funny and curious and loving. And, you know, maybe they'd get that benefit of cats. And I would love to change people's minds about cats.
Well, and I saw on one of your recent Instagram posts, you have some like shelving on the wall or something that the cat was jumping around to. So, I mean, I would imagine, you know, you're going to have some toys and maybe a cat trees.
Yes, we
So I would
do.
imagine kind of even seeing them
You get to see their playful side.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's entertaining alone, just sitting there, you know. And
Oh, yeah.
it is the cat wall. So we made these shelves, and I thought, okay, I know they'll climb them, and that was one of them. That was the first one who climbed up the shelves all around. So
I was
it
watching
is
it like,
fun.
oh my gosh, it's gonna fall, and it never fell. It was so cool.
Yeah, they're good. They've got that. So they've been climbing on those more throughout the day, and we do have this tower that they climb, and a bunch of toys. We had donations from PetSmart. The county has been generous too with supplies, and Local Pets Utah has given donations for supplies as well. So they gave a lot of the toys. There's a lot of fun toys to play with.
That's awesome.
That's so great that everyone's banding together.
Yeah.
You know, you have so many partners who are willing to just chip in for a good cause.
Yeah, it feels good. Nice support. Same common goal, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So they're really on board to help any way they can.
If you could go back and do all this over again, what would you do different? Now that with it almost opening up, I mean, it's obviously going to be opened up when this goes up, but
Yeah.
what would you go back and change?
It would be more the business side for me, just the way to approach it. Since, you know, I went in not knowing, like, just the preparation of like getting an architect on board like right away and having plans when I was looking through buildings and things like that, just so I would have shortened that time span to open. But so yeah, just business side of it. All the other part I'm great with, and I'm so thankful and so happy how it's come to fruition and what it looks like, and it feels good. You know, we were sitting there, my girls in there, I'm like, I like it here, you know, which was important to us. We're like, I want to be here, which was
That's
really
kind of the
important.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the anticipation, though, is what's driving the people in Salt Lake wanting to check that out, because it's been talked about for so long, at least in my circles. And I've seen it on Facebook and a few different other posts. Maybe it's only been on Facebook now that I think about it, but I think there's a lot of anticipation, and I think that's almost good.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
There's this,
everybody's
like, buzz.
curious, right?
Yes, very curious to experience it, which I understand. You know, I would be too. If I wasn't opening one, I would be like, I
You'd be
can't wait
banging
for this
down the
thing to
door.
open. Yeah, exactly. I'd be one of the first people there.
It really is like waiting for Christmas as an adult.
Yes.
It's, yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, there is a buzz and people are waiting, and man, they've been patient, and I'm really, thank you everyone for being really patient.
What advice would you give somebody who just wanted to open business in general? Is there like one or two pieces of advice that you would tell
I guess
somebody?
my biggest thing for business is, and it's probably talked about a lot, but it is your why. Why do you want to do what you want to open? You know, what business do you want, and really know why you want to do that? Because that will be your fire when things aren't fun, you know? It's not
Yeah.
always fun. So that why will fuel it all the way through the process.
Didn't you run a Kickstarter for this too? Wasn't there a
Did.
Kickstarter?
Many moons ago.
Yeah, what was
like-
talk about that for a minute. What was the
Yeah.
Kickstarter?
So the Kickstarter was for Tinkers to help get it off the ground and be able to present for even more funding. So we raised $25,000 with the Kickstarter, and that was good to then present in front of the Salt Lake City Economic Development Board and say, well, people are supporting and they want this to happen here, and we have this money, and that helped to get more funding as well. But it all helped to
wow.
open the doors.
Yeah.
What were some of the rewards for the Kickstarter?
Perks. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Weren't some of them like a plaque up on the wall? Even?
Yeah, we have people's kitties. They have a picture of them on the wall permanently. That'll be on Tinker's wall. And then we have one, the thank you board. So people's whatever name they wanted. So we've had like Captain Doodles or just, Melanie or, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Whatever they want. So there's a thank you board for people. Then there was perks. There was an annual pass. And there's 3 people who have that, so they'll get cats for a year.
Wow! So they can just come in anytime.
Yep,
just
they can reserve anytime, and and
they're like, oh, let this person in. They're royalty.
VIP club.
Yeah, like
exactly.
you kick people out. You gotta get out of here.
Do you know who this is?
Yeah.
I know we're like, it's the top cat. But.
Can you? Well, no. Now I feel bad because, gosh, I want a picture of Charles in there. Like, of our
and can we
cat, right?
still
It's not
donate
too
and
late.
get a plaque of our cat?
We could still put Charles on the wall.
Could we?
We
Gosh,
could.
well, let's talk off it.
Okay, that would be great. He'd be have the Sphinx on the wall.
Yeah, no, that would be
cool.
wonderful. So besides a cat cafe, I mean, I'm always curious. I like to find out a little bit. Obviously, okay, who's Lisa? What are some of your other hobbies and interests?
I love gardening. I'm a big gardener. I like to play in the dirt and grow things. Obviously, yoga, since I taught that's something that.
Are you still teaching yoga at all? Or
I haven't
Tinkers
been in the
has
last
been...
couple of months with Tinkers.
You've been a little busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But myself, I'm a practitioner of yoga for, and that helps me a lot. I love yoga. Let's see. I love to hike. I'm a big enthusiast for the mountains, and so I like to get in there and hike whenever I can.
Well, we got tons of hiking trails in our own backyard.
Do you have a couple of favorite hiking trails?
Lately, I've been going into Mill Creek and then Broad's Fork in Big Cottonwood as well. But at Mill Creek up top, around doing up to Dog Lake area and hang out there. Yeah.
What do you think of people that leash train their cats? I've seen people that have taken cats out on hikes.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
I've seen people drag cats on a leash.
Yeah, right.
Well, no. They
scratches.
train them, and you could tell these cats are having a good time.
Oh,
and I remember I was trying to
that's
leash train
cool.
Charles, and a few people were like, "No, don't do that. Don't leash train your cat."
Well, yeah, there's a lot of people have strong opinions on that.
Which I don't get, because if your cat's okay with it, what's the problem?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I didn't mean to put you on the spot here with that question.
No, yeah.
Everybody's like, "What does Lisa have to say about leash training a cat?"
Because I have a cat at home, and I live right now. I moved it to too close of a busy street, and so I won't let him out at all. But I was like, he really wants that air, in his lungs, and I feel bad, so I bought a leash, and I'm like, okay, let me try it. It was.
How did he take to it?
It was a process.
Yeah, they don't. Cats don't. It's not a natural thing for them. That's why it blows me away. Some of these cats, it's like they're leading the owner.
Some of them like it.
Yeah.
They must train them from like childhood as little kittens.
Yeah, maybe so they just don't know any different, But some really like it. I think it's more rare for ones like it. I would love to have a cat that would go in the mountains.
Yeah,
that would be
there's
fun.
some
Just get a
videos
cougar.
floating around.
Yeah, there you go.
Get a cougar.
They love the mountains.
Do you have what is your most memorable concert or sporting event that you've been to? Have you been to any good music concerts?
Well, yeah. I mean, my most memorable was Page and Plant.
Oh, goodness. Yes, that would have been amazing. Where was that? When was this?
This was in Las Vegas, and I was in high school, so it was the late 90s.
Okay.
Oh, it was incredible. I mean, Page and Plant, but it sounded like the full Zeppelin crew there. And I'll never forget. It was at the Aladdin, which is actually gone now.
I was going to
Doesn't
say,
even exist.
Yeah, wow.
And I remember the curtains. Showed up a little late, and I just remember this huge curtain. We walked through it, and they were playing, I think, Ramble On, and it's just stayed with me. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
You've probably been to some amazing concerts in Vegas.
Yeah,
Vegas gets all the
great
good stuff.
shows. Yeah. Roger Waters was a really good one. He put on a good performance. Yeah, it felt like the Pink Floyd was fully there. Yeah, it was nice.
If you could do a Skype call with any living person, who would it be and why?
Jane Goodall.
Oh,
really? I'm just saying.
Gorillas in the Mist.
Yeah. Oh.
Didn't she write that?
I don't know if she
No.
wrote it.
Did she write? No.
I don't know if she wrote it.
I want to say I saw her speak years ago at a big animal rights convention I went to. In another lifetime.
In another time.
Another lifetime.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
She came through. She's coming through again to speak. But Jane Goodall, I saw her speak. There was something called Parliament of Religions that came through Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And she was a speaker there. So I went to hear her. And she's just inspiring just as a human, especially in this day, in the time that we live in.
Yeah.
She's a gentle speaker, but she's ferocious in who she is, and in what she believes in, is so convicted. And she's, I hope, in her 80s, and she's still touring around the world and speaking for what she believes in. But I just love the fascination of in her youth, and she was living with the gorillas and orangutans and studying them. And I think that's pretty cool.
That would be.
Yeah, that would be amazing to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
If you could shop for free at one store, which one would you choose?
The first thing that comes to mind is something like, if it's free, then whatever I get and it's unlimited, then I get something that would I could give to others. You know what I mean? Like share it. Like get this huge. I hate to be sappy.
I think you're the only person is she the only person that's ever thought of getting stuff to give away?
Most people are pretty selfish. They're like, I could, shop for free at this comic book store.
Well,
You just have this
unlimited.
gigantic heart.
Well, that's
so
really,
nice.
if you had unlimited access to one store free,
She's
think
just
of what
going in
that
with
could
shopping
do to
carts
people.
and giving them to homeless people.
Will you be the president, please?
Hell no.
Lisa, president 2020, or what's it, 20?
20 now.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever we need. We need a president.
We need it now.
Yeah,
we need
yeah.
it. Yes.
And what store then? What did you say?
I didn't pick a store. What would be something beneficial, truly? So something that has food and furniture items or something like that.
You have Reams. They have some
Walmart, I guess.
clothes.
Walmart or Smith's or something, right?
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Trader Joe's.
Like Payless shoe
Or
stores.
Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
We had
True
somebody
value.
say Amazon.
Oh, right. I guess that's
is that
That kinda
everything
counts
you can
now, right?
imagine.
I don't know. I guess that's kind of a silly question.
That's a good
Interesting.
question.
Yeah. It makes you think.
What's a store though? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's- there's a really it's changed.
Okay, well, we can just
All right.
cut all this out. I don't know.
It's just something to think about.
We're not really giving you a store that you could choose.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that kind of
You're not?
power.
Come
Sorry.
on.
We're just a podcast.
That's just a tease question. What is
So,
this?
if someone was visiting Salt Lake City, let's kind of shift gears to Salt Lake. We have a few Salt Lake City questions. Let's say this upcoming weekend, they've never been here before. What would you tell them to do? What would you tell them to check out? I mean, I guess come and check out Tinkers.
This is where I'll be really selfish.
Yeah.
Like grand opening this weekend, man.
Well, there you go. Well, what would you tell them? Come check you out, but what else?
Well, and this is what I do, like for family who've never been here. I like to take them to the mountains. I'm like, let's go into the canyons because you need to see how beautiful it is.
Sure.
I know the leaves have dropped pretty much, but that's okay. So that's definitely something I would go into the canyons for people if they're not outdoor enthusiasts. I think downtown Salt Lake is just
It's awesome.
Wonderful.
The buildings, the architecture.
It is
so
really
cool.
fun to walk around in.
Yes. There's great people. There's great food. Yeah, the architecture, the art that's sprinkling through. I love this green bike program we've got. People could just tour around, so that would be really fun to do. Grab
And if
a
you don't like
bike.
riding a bike, there's bike taxis that can take you
Yes.
around. So,
Yeah.
we have everything for the lazy and the
Favorite local eating spots, and you mentioned places to eat. Do you have some favorites that you want to give a little shout out to or a plug
Boy,
to?
I do. Well, yeah, I mean, the vendors that I'm bringing, Lay Madeline is so good.
Yeah, mention them
Yeah, Romina it's amazing. We have this chef here with pastries that is just, she's worldly. She's picked it up and it's beautiful food. So that's definitely, Lay Madeline is great. And Dida, I love Amy over there. I'm not kidding. Is the best bagel sandwich.
Aren't they, what are they,
breakfast
3,900 or 33?
33.
3,300 in like...
It's that dome.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that green dome.
Yeah.
That's Dida's.
Okay.
On 33rd and like 11th. East,
Yeah, I
something
figured
like
give them a
that.
little shout out too to go check them out.
Yes, definitely.
Any other favorite places that you like to eat at?
Oh, lately it changes, let's see, where have we been going?
Dinner, lunch?
Yes. I actually
The mind's going blank. No,
I know.
that's fine.
And I'm hungry, but
That's
see.
fine. If you could change one or two things about Salt Lake City, is there anything you would change about the city?
One thing is, I'm an advocate for what's going on with people with our homeless situation. And I'm a big fan of Ben McAdams, like huge fan. I'm like, he's presidential material down the road. But so I guess anything would be to help support that change that they're trying to do right now. And I know they're getting resistance because they have to put other shelters in other places, understandable, in residential areas. That would be something. Yeah, but it's needed,
Yeah.
We need to help that out.
Let's run down the list. So the cat, where Tinker's is, how it works again. Let's run that before I get you out of here.
Okay.
What's the address again for Tinker's
So we're
Cafe?
at 302 East and 900 South.
And the hours, run down those again real quick.
And we're going to be open. Tomorrow is our soft opening. That is a reservation-based, very limited amount, but you can find the information online, tinkerscatcafe.com. We're open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 to 7. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 8. And we're closed on Mondays.
Okay, and then you have Instagram and Facebook so people can connect. Because obviously, in the podcasting world, this is up indefinitely, right? So you don't know when people are going to be listening to this. So people can connect with you through all the social media outlets.
Okay. Yes. Instagram and Facebook are, we have a little bit of Twitter, but mainly Facebook and Instagram is where we're posting everything.
I just realized that you're creating the perfect place for like Tinder date meetups.
Oh, it's great for Tinder.
Holy crap. That's gotta be the perfect place.
That's how Chrissy and I met, more or less.
Oh,
nice. we knew of each other. But we matched on Tinder.
But can you imagine? But he got me with his cat.
Yeah.
First night I met him. I'm
Really?
like, oh yeah. That's how you get a lady.
I was like, do you want to come and dress up my cat?
He really did. It was like the first thing he said.
In other words.
Well, a few drinks. And
murderers also, if you want to get someone back to your apartment.
Exactly. So it's like 50-50 chance, right? Ex-murder, maybe good guy.
But you're a
Worth the
perfect
risk.
place for that, especially since you'll be open. We said till 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, 8 o'clock on the
o'clock?
weekends. And Sunday open till 8 as well. Perfect date
Oh,
material.
man.
First date.
Yeah.
And it'd be so fun to know. I would love
That's how you know if you're compatible, man. If you get along with the same cat.
Is he a cat guy?
You imagine the guy, the pressure. He's like, she took me to the cat cafe.
He has to pretend to like
right?
cats. That would be awesome.
Let's see. Anything else that we need to ask? Well, again, I'll have all the links at iamsaltlake.com with this episode show notes. Anything else that we didn't talk about, Lisa, that we should mention about the Cat Cafe? People have to sign up to, hang out with the cats. Will there be pictures of the cats? I guess that would be too much. Like, I guess could they look at bios online?
If they're online, can they get online and see what cats are actually there?
That might be a little bit of work, I guess.
Well, we will have pictures in-house saying these are the ones that are up for adoption.
Yeah.
And bios, I'd hope to update website down the road. That would be ideal.
That's a lot of extra
like
work.
the shelters do.
Yeah.
But right now I don't have that. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. Come down and check it out.
And the big grand opening is November 4th. And that's 11 to 8 on this Saturday. But those it's almost booked.
Wow.
So there are still some spots, but later in the afternoon that day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, people probably should get online and book pretty quickly because it's probably going to get.
And then maybe one day you'll have an app on your phone. I got to get on my Tinker's app
Oh my gosh.
to book a spot.
Let's get some franchises going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Lisa. It's been an honor to have you on the podcast. And no, seriously, we'll do a part 2 at the cafe down the road.
Yes,
that would be amazing.
Cat on the lap while you're talking.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes,
and we'll
please.
catch up. I love to catch up with people that have come on the podcast. So
thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely.
You so much.
All right. Many thanks again to Lisa Boone from Tinker's Cat Cafe for joining us on this episode. For all the links to find out more about her, to find out more about the Cat Cafe, the address and all that, it's going to be at iamsaltlake.com/304 for episode 304. This is where you can get in touch, send a message, reach out, say, hey, Lisa, I heard you on the podcast.
And fun fact, we discovered Jerry Cordova did the artwork on the outside of the cafe.
Yeah, I don't think we brought that up in the interview.
No, we didn't know until last night when we visited.
When we walked up to that, we were like, oh, Jerry did the artwork on that. We had her on the
She's
podcast.
everywhere.
Yeah, she's friend of the I Am Salt Lake family.
Yeah.
Hey, but listen up. Do you love I Am Salt Lake podcast? Are you a local business here in the area that you love the podcast? Why not sponsor the podcast? Why not have an advertisement on a future episode of I Am Salt Lake podcast? We have some sponsorship openings, and we'd love to work something out with you. Send us an email at hello@iamsaltlake.com. Let's talk. We'll kind of tell you what we have, what our openings are, and we'd love to kind of bring you in as
Come be part of the family.
As a sponsor of the podcast. Speaking of sponsors, though, Jed's Barbershop is a proud sponsor of this podcast. With 3 locations now, you have no reason to not always look your best. Go get a haircut, a beard trim, or even a straight razor shave. Jed's Barbershop is open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Saturday, 9 to 7, and even on Sundays, 12 to 5. Their 3rd location, you can find that at 167 East, 900 South. It's right next to Randy's Records. They also have a location downtown, 212 South, 700 East, and up in Sugar House, 2153 East, 2100 South. Listen, no appointments necessary. Just go in, get your hair cut, get your straight razor shave.
Which is super helpful for the holiday season.
Hey, yeah, right. You're going to family's house for Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, whatever it is. New Year's Eve parties are going to be right around the corner. You're going to want to look sharp. Go into any 3 locations and say, you know what? I Am Salt Lake sent me. Right? They told me I need to look good.
That's right.
And I heard about you guys on the podcast. JedsBarbershop.com is their website where you can find out more about them. That's going to do it for this episode. Again, thank you so much, Lisa from Tinker's Cat Cafe, for coming on this episode. Head on over there, grab yourself a coffee, and pet a cat. Thank you so much, Chrissy, for co-hosting the podcast as normal. And thank you guys for listening to the podcast. Let's give a challenge. What's our challenge this week? Is it maybe share a favorite episode on social media?
Yes, I like that challenge. There's a lot of good episodes.
Go to iamsaltlake.com. Dig through that back catalog. If there's a favorite episode that you have, share it on Facebook or Twitter. And say,
absolutely.
Guys, listen to this podcast.
Check out this cool person.
Because that's how this podcast grows, is one new listener at a time. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you guys have a great week. Get out and enjoy the city. Support local.
And good night, Grammy.